Do you know what I've been thinking about since the last episode? It's how did Shelby save Christmas? If Shelby hadn't appeared, then nothing would have happened. Their holiday would have been just the same as it always was. It's just one of those things that I end up thinking about way too much. However, there are some family films out there that are all about a character saving the Christmas of their beloved family. That's right, I'm talking about Home Alone. That's right, the classic tale of someone being left alone by his family to fend off against two bumbling burglars. But we're not here to talk about that classic movie, because right now our faulty family film this week is The Dog Who Saved Christmas. Once again, we have a production company who doesn't know how to spell. It's almost as if it was entirely intentional. We open the movie on a montage of places that we'll never see, but at least we don't have some obnoxious voiceover to ruin things for us.
Yay! Ah, Christmas! My favorite time of year. That's me. My name's Zeus.
And I just got out of a bad relationship involving me and a dolphin.
I think I'm gonna turn myself into the dog catcher. Hey, at least I can get 3 square meals on the inside.
So that's what happens when you take the whole dog pound equals prison symbolism to its logical extreme. Here we meet a bunch of dogs who have nothing at all to do with the movie.
Don't worry about me, sweetie. I'll be fine. I used to be a cop.
Yeah, right.
I used to save people's lives for a living.
Really?
And judging by the way that camera keeps shaking, I think someone might be a tad drunk. Shh, don't tell anyone. It's me. Moving on, we end up at Foster's home for forgotten supporting cast members, as we get Danny from King of Queens and Morgan from Sabrina playing George and Belinda Bannister, respectively. Along with that red-headed kid who's in a lot of kids' media, but no one really seems to know his name, and the girl who played Lilith's child body in Supernatural.
This is indeed a disturbing universe.
Beauty right there. Looks like a Victorian mansion.
Looks like a giant dollhouse.
That beauty right there is going to be our last one.
That's right, that's Dean Cain of the Lois and Clark Superman series, proving that the Superman curse really does affect every actor in some very different ways.
328 Red Maple. Honey, isn't that the Johnson's house?
Yeah.
They were robbed.
You're kidding.
No, and this is the second time on this block in a month.
It almost sounds like there's a connection there, like some sort of clue that the police should totally be picking up on. Nah, I'm sure it's not important. So the plot gets rolling after the kids suggest getting a dog to guard the house due to the burglaries. But I'm far more interested in the other problem that the house has.
If we're gonna get a pet, we should get a cat. This mouse problem we're having.
Oh no, that's not good.
Mainly because I already know how that plot's going to end.
No buttocks.
You will not buy a dog before we have had a chance to talk about it again.
I promise.
Thank you.
Oh, I know that look. That's the look of a man who's about to make a terrible decision and will be sleeping on the couch. Not that I would know what that's like. I mean, how was I supposed to know the grease was flammable? The hair eventually grew back. George goes to the pound to adopt the dog instead of buying one from a character that IMDb assures me is called Periwinkle.
We got some of the most highly profiled dogs right behind these bars. I mean, they're mentally just challenged as far as who to bite.
Though, of course, I like to refer to him as Harold Zoid.
I got a partner fancy DVD movie. It's only one line, but I'm gonna ham it up like you wouldn't believe.
So Zeus is what you want, huh?
Zeus?
Yeah.
Huh. Now that's a guard dog.
Yeah, but if you're a dog, you at least have to bark. I mean, that dog, to be honest, I'd never heard him bark.
Which I'm sure the film won't go over time and time again, despite the fact we already know this information, and then give us the reason towards the end of the movie, which will be vague and anticlimactic. Almost as much as I'm sure that you buying a guard dog that can't bark will cause you no issues whatsoever with your wife.
One thing I can tell you about Zeus is, used to be a former police dog. Canine cop.
Really?
Yeah. Got a plaque, couple awards, but right now he's just a quiet dog.
I would like to remind people at the beginning of this movie, we saw that Zeus had apparently been living on the streets and turned himself into the pound. So, how exactly does this guy know any of this information?
But, great kids, great kids. Dog lovers all the way, buddy.
Sounds like my kind of people.
And of course, my wife Belinda, she's awesome. And oh, the apple strudel is to die for.
Ooh, strudel. Last time I had strudel, I was sick for a week.
You know, I'm not really sure what's more annoying, the saccharine wholesomeness that George keeps spewing, or the overly sugary responses that Zeus gives. But at least this film does know when a dog should speak. If we were in Shelby, there would have been half a dozen bad lines and a fart by now. Back at home, the family is introduced to the dog, and we see the mice again, for some reason.
This is gonna get interesting.
Because apparently having one wisecracking animal in this movie wasn't enough, so they needed to add 2 more in. It's almost like a portion of this movie might end up being devoted to a dog who is left solitary in his domicile for some time, so they need to pad out the time. Moving on, we get an exposition dump about George having lost a pet when he was younger.
And he reminded me so much of Duke that I couldn't even resist.
I know that you had to put your childhood dog to sleep and you have been traumatized ever since.
I am not traumatized, and don't make it out to be more than what it is.
Which, like the mice, say it with me folks, has nothing to do with the movie.
They are notorious for being the most toughest and most masculine dogs around.
Kill me.
Mom, please, can we bring Zeusy to Grandma's?
Oh, I don't think so, honey.
Why, Belinda, I can't believe you would suggest leaving a dog domestically independent. George continues to cover for Zeus's lack of barking, as we apparently find out what Jake Blues did before being sent to jail.
Goldbug's Chinese food.
Yes, of course, yeah. Merry Hanukkah.
Happy holidays, close enough.
Yeah,
$32.75.
Okay, grateful. Here's 40.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Oh, yeah, we're building a little gingerbread house there.
I meant the girl, not the house.
Oh.
How much for the little girl? The women. How much for the women?
What?
You're the women. I want to buy your women, the little girl, your daughters.
And as if that wasn't weird enough,
You just look very tense. I mean, I know this is all new for you, but we're gonna take it one step at a time.
This is a little awkward, George, don't you think?
Yeah.
because who hasn't stripped down and taken a bath with their dog? I'll tell you who, everyone who's not a freaking psychopath. What's next? You're going to take your cat to a waxing appointment? Continuing to introduce one-off characters for no discernible reason, we get this guy who reiterates what we already know.
It's entirely possible he suffered some sort of psychological trauma on the job.
Though, of course, this diagnosis of mental trauma does appear to only be from a few minutes' worth of study. From a guy whose test involves him dressing up like a robber and breaking into a person's home. I think I would trust Dr. Nick Riviera more than I trust this guy.
Now, the symptoms you describe point to bonus eruptus. It's a terrible disorder where the skeleton tries to leap out the mouth and escape the body.
Trying to help Zeus, the kids try to get him to bark by...
Okay, so you have to surprise Mom and Dad with a nice loud bark before Christmas Eve.
playing a CD of dogs barking that they happen to have? I'm starting to wonder, how stoned were the writers of this? Was it at this level?
Pucker up, Ned.
Or were we at this level?
You guys were so baked, you didn't sound anywhere near as good as you thought you did. I was in the audience.
Hey, who's that?
You know, it's weird. That woman does look really familiar. I can't place where.
Ricky Jameson says the cat lady hates dogs so much that she calls the pound up to make more room for cats. So she lures the dogs in with her homemade stew and then calls the pound up as they're eating it.
Also, if I had to take a wild guess, would this scene also be...
I heard that she hates dogs so much that she calls...
Yeah, I thought so.
Remember, we've been working on this a long time, and it is kind of fragile, right? Yeah. And it is our gift to Grandma.
Well, yes, I'm sure she'll greatly appreciate the gift of diabetes you're going to give her. I mean, who in their right minds would think giving a giant gingerbread house as a present is a good idea?
Why is there a leopard on the Cheetos bag? Wait, it's a cheetah. Cheetah. Cheetos. There is so much beauty in the world.
Although I hope that this isn't just the same tired old cliche and that in a moment the dog's going to come running through and...
Gingerbread. Oh, yes.
No, Zeus, get back!
Wow, what a surprise. How could anyone have expected that? I certainly didn't. Skipping on a bit, because we haven't even gotten to the so-called interesting part of this plot yet. The family decides to send Zeus back to the pound, but will first leave him in the house overnight as they go to their grandma's. So that means it's time for our 90s as fuck villains to make their reappearance.
Look, they're going on a trip.
And we just caught a break. It's gonna make our job so much easier.
So wait, you were just going to break into that house no matter if they were there or not? You didn't care about the fact that they might be in the house or might have a chance of coming back? Wow, you're not just 90s villains, you're the extremely stupid version of 90s villains. Inside the house, Zeus is unfortunately already feeling the effects of being left behind.
Come, Zeus, drink from my well.
Did I just... Am I going crazy?
Oh, that's nothing. Should see what's going on in the house down the street. After a whole lot of nothing, the Bannisters arrive at their grandma's house to find...
Great puzzle, Mom.
Frau Farbissina? Huh, that's where she went after the end of Goldmember. While back at home, Zeus goes after the apparently unlocked back door. Because you know, when there's a spate of burglaries in your neighbourhood, what's a better idea than to leave the back door, easily hidden from the street, open and accessible? Heading outside, Zeus ends up running into the dreaded cat lady.
I've noticed you don't bark.
Great. Does everybody on the block know I can't bark?
Hey, you show her some respect. That's Catwoman you're talking to. And I mean that literally. That's Adrienne Barbeau, who played Catwoman in Batman the Animated Series. You will show her some respect. After talking to the cat lady for literally a few minutes, Zeus finally reveals the reason he doesn't bark.
Get down, Zeus! Get down! Zeus! 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 It's not working! It's not working! Zeus! Zeus! Stay back! Stay back! Get back!
It was my fault. Because of my barking, I blew a 5-year investigation.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, so as you can see, the film doesn't really explain what that's meant to be. But I guess, it's not like it's important or anything. It's not like the film has brought it up constantly and just had a whole scene about it. So why clearly explain exactly how Zeus destroyed a 5-year investigation? It's just like in Lord of the Rings. They never do explain why the ring must never reach Sauron. And in Batman, they never explain why he dresses up like a bat and fights crime. Because in a movie, it's not at all important to add weight and depth to something that has greatly affected the plot and the main character. Moving on, Oh, fuck it. Has everyone seen Home Alone? Yes? Good, you've seen the rest of this movie. First, we have the easily avoidable items being used to pelt the bad guys. Then the bad guys do manage to get in and leave their fingerprints all over the house because they aren't wearing gloves. Then the dog gets captured and...
Give me a stick here.
Apparently he ain't that smart.
Talk is cheap where I come from, Marshmallow Man.
Let me smash him.
No. First we get what we came for, then you can do whatever you want to, okay?
What is it with these movies and trying to hit dogs? I already understand they're the bad guys. You don't need to turn this into something that the cinema snob would review for me to understand that. The dog then gets free and is finally able to bark, before totally killing both criminals by dropping a chandelier on top of them. And the film ends with us learning that the grandma and the cat lady know each other.
Oh. Annie?
Millie?
Oh my goodness.
You guys know each other?
All old people know each other. Don't you know that?
So, what about this movie? Well, what can I say about a film that drags its feet to get to its actual plot, and then when it does, it's just the same tired Home Alone idea that has been done over and over? Nothing in the film is made interesting. The bad guys are two-dimensional and appear for so little of the movie that by the time they're a part of the plot, there's no reason to care. The pseudo-antagonist of the cat lady could have been an interesting distraction and misunderstanding plot point, but instead they give us Zeus's therapy session. While the family is so bland that they aren't even needed in the movie. As other than George, who gets Zeus, none of them do anything. Which is a symptom of the bigger problem in this movie. that nothing is driving it forwards. Zeus is adopted about 15 minutes into the movie, and then for the next 40 minutes, the story's stuck repeating the same things over and over again until the family goes away and the bad guys appear. And when almost half of your movie's runtime is devoted to nothing happening, that's the time to go back to the drawing board. However, I will give credit where credit is due. The acting in this is actually okay, which I'm chalking up to the combined years of experience for the cast, with both of the bad guys doing as well as they possibly can with what little they have. Also, Adrienne Barbeau showing that even in such a small role, she can outshine anyone. Now, doing a quick bit of research, I found this is the first of many adventures for Zeus, the Bannisters, and our bumbling pair of criminals. So that means in the future, I'll probably be reviewing more of these movies, but for now, I've been Tyas, this has been Faulty Family Films, and I'll see you next time.
Do I ask too much? Do I pray too hard? Crossing all my paths, wishing on a star that someday there'll be a home for me.